this is going to be a huge event. Major League Wrestling will be in Miami. It'll be a Miami debut. December 13th and 14th, they will be TV tapings for beIN Sports. Major League Wrestling, they have exceptional talent, and one of the guys there, Konnan, has done so much in his career and continues to do so much. He'll be in the corner of Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. for that World Tag Team Championship match against the Hart Foundation on December 13th, and then he'll be involved coming out of retirement. That in itself is going to be something to see. Miami's own Konnan going in there against incredible talent low-key with Selena De La Renta, and that'll be on December 14th. A main event homecoming for Konnan at the MLW Fusion TV tapings at the Scottish Rite Temple. So you guys got to check this all out. And Konnan, with these 2 big days of TV tapings coming here in Miami, and you've been part of big events, big shows, big companies, what do you like about MLW? What things, and you're also no nonsense, so you'll always tell it like it is. What is it about MLW that they're doing things right here?
Well, I just think that one of the main things is, as you've seen, they have a large lucha presence. They brought in Rush from CMLL, LA Park, his son, Pentagon Phoenix, Puma King, Daga, and as you know, I consider myself kind of like a godfather for lucha libre in the United States. You know how long I've been pushing for it, and so to me, we went to Chicago, and it was incredible. It was mostly a Mexican crowd, and they were so rabid, and they loved their lucha libre, and they actually threw money into the ring, which, as you know, is a way of showing appreciation for a lucha match, and I love that type of stuff. So, the other thing is, there's very little politics, and that's one of the things that I hate about wrestling. That takes the fun out of wrestling. And as you know, Jim, because you've been following wrestling for a long time, you know how political wrestling companies can be. And that's one of the things that I hate. And very little politics in MLW. They just want to go out there and put out the best show possible, and that's what I want to do. Sometimes politics get in the way, and the wrong people are featured, and I hate that. And so, right now they're just trying to establish their brand. They're trying to establish, like, these are our wrestlers, and they've asked me to help them, and so I'm doing it. Cord is a friend of mine, Cord Bauer, very smart guy. He was able to get a contract with beIN Sports and get him on the air, and he's doing a lot of cool things for 2019, and behind the scenes I'm kind of helping him with a lot of stuff. And so behind the scenes, I'm really happy to help somebody like him that's so passionate and who loves wrestling and respects wrestling so much. And he has his vision of what he thinks wrestling should be, and I share that vision. So, the dressing room's really cool. It's really laid back, and it's really about everybody going out there and putting on the best show possible with very little politics involved.
And Konnan, well, you mentioned the politics and all that. That's so much politics. It's crazy. But when you're in an organization, we'll take MLW, for instance, and
right,
as things are going and developing and all, do you get a sense that the state of wrestling today, because you see other companies too, you don't have to wrestle every week? They do the TV tapings and not so much with house shows or anything like that. Do you see that, not just with MLW, but other organizations too, that it's a changing time because you don't have to do so many house shows anymore, and you could just do these TV tapings and then do other things for other companies, whatever schedule you can have to dictate that, or just take rest until the next set of tapings? Do you see more or less that going that way across the board, other than maybe like WWE?
Kind of looks that way. It kind of looks that way right now. I think as companies grow, you will see more house shows. But right now they're in a period where, they're making their money and their business growth just by doing TV tapings. But I do think in the future they probably would do a couple house shows just to have increased revenue. But I really couldn't speak for them because I'm not management, you know what I'm saying? But I'm assuming that that's what might happen. But yeah, it's really cool right now to be like with Impact and MLW, where they're just basically just doing TV tapings, and it gives you time to do your things, you know, because in AAA, I also work in AAA in Mexico, and I do their TV tapings also. I don't do any of their house shows. They do house shows, but I don't have to go to any of those. I just go to TV tapings, and that makes it very easy for me, because those house show loops are a grind, you know.
Well, Konnan, what has it been like for you being back with AAA?
You know, that's a place that I've dedicated about 17 years of my career to, and, you know, I was there from day one, and we've seen so many great wrestlers come through AAA, whether it's, you know, Eddie or, you know, or Ray or Juventud or Psychosis. I mean, that's been a place where so many, Pentagon started there, Phoenix started there, LA Park started there. It's had so many great wrestlers come through there, and there's just a new crew of young guys that right now I'm working with who are going to be, you know, big names in the United States next year and the year after that. It's really cool to work there, but it's like, you know, that's the thing. It's a real big company, and there's certain politics there that and a certain process which slows everything down. I kind of like working with MLW because they're smaller, and there's not so much filters and bureaucracy and politics involved. You know, big companies, there's always a lot of politics involved. So that's the only part I don't like. Everything else I'm loving about AAA right now, especially a lot of the new talent you're going to see. Because, you know, like in '94, we had all this great talent with Love Machine and Rey Mysterio and, you know, Juventud, all those guys. And then, like, in 2000, I would say 2012, you know, we had such a great crew of guys, you know, Daga and Taya and Pentagon and Phoenix, and Alberto Del Rio was there, and Ray was there, and, you know, we had a real good, strong crew. And now 2018, we've got all these really young guys that nobody knows about in the United States, but I guarantee you next year they will.
All right, so Konnan, big event, MLW, December 14th, and that's going to be at the Miami Scottish Rite Temple. You're going against Low-Key for the world title. Selena De Laurentiis will be in Low-Key's corner. What's going to happen? What will Konnan do? I don't want to jinx anything, but Konnan wins the title, and he's going to be in Miami, his hometown. What is Konnan going to do for a celebration in Miami?
I'll go to Calle Ocho for sure. That's you know, I just went on the Jericho cruise, and I got there at my plane had been delayed, and I didn't get there till 2 in the morning, and the first thing I did was go look for Cuban food, because that's what I missed. What I miss the most about Miami is just the Cuban food. You can't find food. I've gone to LA, I've gone to New York, I've gone to Vegas. It's not the same as in Miami. And so I had to go out there and find me a real Cuban sandwich with real Cuban bread and pastelitos de guayaba and café cubano and, you know, all the stuff I grew up with. And so, you know, at 2 in the morning there I was looking for Cuban food, you know.
And I bet you found it at 2 in the morning too down there.
Yeah, I did. And what's funny is the part I went to, it's really weird. You know, I didn't notice this when I was a kid, but there's certain parts in Miami you go to, nobody speaks English.
Yeah, the billboards are all in Spanish. Everything, right? Yes, there are. By Marlins Park, it's like that too. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, it's incredible. And because I went with some friends and they didn't speak Spanish, and the waitress didn't speak English. You know, and so I just thought that was so weird. Because I remember when I first got there were actually signs, and I don't know if you remember this, Jim. There were actually signs that said "No pets and no Cubans." Do you remember that?
No, I don't. Wow, no, I don't remember that. Wow. Yeah, that's not, you know, that times have changed, but man, just going through stuff like that and all. But you're right. I mean, you go down there to Miami. I know in certain areas you'll see, like I said, the billboards are all in Spanish. The signage on the stores and all the shops and everything are in Spanish and all. So, and the people down there. There was just an incident. I don't remember what it was. It was one of the like fast food joints, and the lady
Right.
went up to order, and she spoke English, and the person that was taking the order spoke Spanish, and they wouldn't serve her because they couldn't understand, and they were like, "Why didn't you get someone else in the fast food joint?" And that was down in the Hialeah area. And all,
Right.
it was a whole big thing on the news like several months ago and everything like that. Like, oh, why didn't someone, take her order, or whatever, the customer and all. So yeah, but
I think
anyway,
I saw that, yeah.
there are parts of,
Yeah, I think.
but there are parts of Miami, like you said, that it's really just Spanish only.
Yeah, and it's just funny because I see a lot of Anglos talking with Cuban slang, which there's no way you were going to see that back when I was growing up. So it's just beautiful to see, what Cubans have contributed to that city. And, it's always great to be home, and there's no place like home, you know what I'm saying? So it'll be a great privilege for me to go out there and win that in Miami, shut Low-Key's mouth up, shut up Selena, who's out there, being very manipulative with a lot of the Latin talent and not looking out for their best interest. But that's her problem. I'm going to go in there, hopefully try to knock Low-Key out. If I can't knock him out, then like I said, I'm willing to get very dirty with him, make him bleed, and put him through some pain that he's probably never been through before. I know I'm going to take a beating in the process. This is not going to be a cakewalk. I know he's going to go out there and he's going to try to hurt me just like I'm going to try to hurt him. There's not going to be a lot of technicality, I don't think. If he wants to go in there and wrestle hold for hold, I think I can match him hold for hold, chain wrestling, if you will. But I know there's going to come a point in there where he's going to try to get really brutal with me, and that's something that I'm training for.
Well, there may not be any pets allowed at the Miami Scottish Rite Temple, but we know there will be Cubans will be allowed at the Scottish Rite Temple. It won't be like the old days with those signs or anything like that, and there'll be a lot of people there supporting Konnan when he goes for that championship match. Konnan, we'll end it with this. What's going on with the University of Miami, Konnan? What the heck has happened to the Hurricanes?
Bro, I hate to say this, but we need to, and I don't know, but I think we need to get rid of Mark Rick.
Oh, man, we can't not yet. That offensive line has been, I hate to be negative with the kids, but you know what, they're college kids, they're getting older. The offensive line has been garbage this year. The quarterback play, with N'Kosi Perry, the kid didn't want to, not that he didn't want to learn the playbook, but he had a difficult time buckling down because it wasn't football where you just ride with your talent. You got to study the playbook. You got to get involved with what's going on, watch tape, do all that. And that's a lot for a kid when you're coming in and having to do all things like that. Now maybe he's starting to get his footing. He had a good game against Virginia Tech. They say he's taking more responsibility for the position and all, which is good. Because Malik Rozier could only do so much. He worked hard. He could only do so much. He did his thing.
I think Malik was way, way, way too inconsistent, bro. He had some great games. He had a lot of games where he was terrible.
Yeah, he did. But that's what you get from him. You're only going to get so much from him. He's not going to be one of these superstar players. So when they went back to him, I was like, this is what's telling me with N'Kosi Perry's just not ready for this. But then, got in there and started studying film. They say he's working harder, learn the playbook, do all that, do all the X's and O's behind the scenes that you need to do, especially at that position and all. But the offensive line has been horrible. That's the thing, though. Jeez.
But we've had so many great coaches, whether it was Jimmy Johnson or Erickson or Schnellenberger, and we had so many great quarterbacks, whether it was what was the guy that went to the Bills? Jim
Kelly, Bernie Kosar. You had you had Testaverde, you had Torretta who won a Heisman. You had a bunch of great quarterbacks. Steve Walsh was good in his time. Was an okay.
He was very good.
Okay college player. Okay NFL player, but he was very good with that.
He was great for the Miami Hurricanes. Walsh was great. So we had so many great quarterbacks, and we haven't had a great quarterback in a long, long time. What was the last great quarterback we had?
No, it's been too long before we had.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey was the last great one we had.
He was great. That's the last great quarterback.
That's the thing.
And so that's another thing. We haven't had that great quarterback. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too premature with Mark Richt, but we just have so much talent. Why isn't? Here's another thing. Why isn't the what's this guy? Why isn't Lingard playing?
Oh, with Lingard. Oh, they don't think he's ready yet to play. They still don't think he's ready yet. I don't know.
Bro, the guy looked like a stud in high school. How about Burns?
No, Burns is another one. There's these guys that have come in, Burns, Lingard.
He's incredible.
That they were phenomenal, five-star. They're incredible talents, and yet they don't feel they're ready yet. They feel like that these guys, physically, they don't know if they can handle it yet, and then are they learning the playbook? Those are always the two things that come up. And that's the thing with Mark Richt, because when he was at Georgia, that was his thing. And they loved to run the ball at Georgia. Yeah, they had 3 running backs in that system that he loved to use. And that's what he wants to do, pound the ball, run the ball. But Miami's known for quarterbacks. So it's been a change there. And then all this offensive line stuff has been an issue. And that's the thing. And it's like, this is an issue we never thought we'd have with Mark Richt, because he built up those Georgia teams to have great O-lines and really great running backs.
Yeah, well, I don't know why he hasn't done that in Miami, because we've had a great, as you know, a great history, whether it was McGahee or whether it was Portis or whether it was Gore.
Oh, Gore.
We've had so many great running backs. When was the last great running back you saw in Miami?
Yeah, I know. Right. That was no, that Dorsett's a receiver. Who the heck was it that went to Cleveland? Yeah, I know. It's been a while.
Oh, Duke Johnson.
That's it, Duke Johnson. Thank you. They went to Cleveland and all. But that's the thing and all. I just think I'm not ready to throw in the towel on Rick yet. But let me tell you something. If he has another year like this year, next year, it will be time to throw in the towel.